My name is Dr. Gus Vickery. I live in Asheville, North Carolina. We have a medical practice called Authentic Health, where we do both primary care family medicine and precision medicine. Before Therium, we used a lot of tests to try and evaluate our patients. Comprehensive lab studies, where you're able to look at inflammatory markers and lipids and metabolic markers and hormones and others, and a comprehensive nutrient evaluation, intra and extracellular, a toxicant panel, a gut function and health panel, arterial screening with carotid IMT, DEXA scanning, and a specialty test called a prodrome test. It left us with blind spots. We knew there were still things we weren't finding, but yet there were still some people with complicated diseases that they got better, but you weren't necessarily putting those diseases into remission. Also, the patients who are really performance-minded, they're doing this because they want every edge. There's a continuous stream of questions. Should I be using this, spermidine? Should I be using NAD boosting strategies? Should I be using this for mitochondria, right? Like, is this going to be the most effective tool for X, Y, or Z in the body? And essentially, you're like, it may be, right? These are all evidence-based good tools. We have research to back them up. Do you need them? We don't know. So you could end up with individuals who didn't want to leave something out with these really over-designed protocols. I had been tracking metabolomics research for quite some time, desiring that we would have such a test available. But I also knew that the interpretations were exceedingly complex and that it would take me a long time to be competent to do that kind of interpretation. And therefore, I was going to really either have to get very good at myself, which was going to take a long time, or I was going to have to trust the company that I partnered with, that the algorithms that they designed, for interpretation intervention, that we could count on those, that they're going to actually be effective, they're going to be accurate. And so it was really important for me to find a company who had put in the type of work it takes that you can actually accurately interpret a metabolome and know what to do. I was able to spend time with the founders of the company, and a lot of time, and really talking to them about their ethos, right? What brought them to this place, their why, what their passion was, and really listening to them describe in detail what they had built. And I decided in my best judgment that they were trustworthy, that the integrity factor was high. I resonated with their why. It matches with my why, with what I'm trying to do in my patient care, and that I likely could place trust in this company and at least created enough confidence in me to go ahead and move forward. So essentially every patient that I'm seeing, if they're renewing for the year or they're a new sign-up, Metabolomics is now included as part of their evaluation plan. Patients who are in process with me or have been in process, I've introduced them to the report and suggested we should add it in to the docket of tests that we've been running on them, and cross-match that against these other sets of data that I had. And thus far what I'm seeing is it's a pretty good match. What I might have predicted about a particular aspect of cell function based on one of these other reports will often match with where the Therium reports. That gives me confidence that we're on the right track, not just with Therium, but in general with the model. Instead of guessing, so we've always got this foundational set of stacks. We're going to optimize nutrients. We're going to clear toxicants. We're going to boost antioxidants, glutathione, nitric oxide. These are things we know we're going to do to health human systems. We're going to use various resources to improve gut health and gut function. But then there was I know that this person has some degree of mitochondrial impairment. I know it based on their subjective reporting of health, or immune dysregulation with inflammatory issues. But what am I going to choose? And that was based on just intuition and experimentation. Whereas now I'm being led to the specific intervention that we need to use. A lot of them, the ones who enjoy taking therapeutics, have been excited about the intervention plans because there's a lot of really awesome therapeutics that show up in these intervention plans, many of which people have been interested in. Now they know this will benefit me. I'm going to get to try this. I'm going to get to use it. Now there are other patients who really don't want a lot of interventions And so with those, we have to they might be intimidated a little bit by the number of recommendations and what are they going to have to do. But we're also able to help them understand that this is kind of a long game play. This isn't like we're going to take the human biochemical processes and have them all move to optimal overnight, right? This is a series of iterations of we're going to shift these and we're going to get this. Now we're in this state, so now we can apply these interventions, and see how they go forward. I would say that this is the future of medicine, right? The ability to measure the metabolome, and eventually the combination of full genome sequencing and being able to measure the transcriptome, being able to measure the proteome, and then add the metabolome. If we're able to look this deeply into human systems, then we're going to get so far upstream of disease. We're going to catch dysfunctional processes long before they ever manifest as actual disease, or even potentially a deterioration in cell function. Right? This is going to allow us over time to have our patient base be on an optimization track rather than a how do we treat their various diseases. And this has been coming for a long time. There's been so much interest in metabolomics, measuring the metabolome, intervention plans. And now we've arrived at a point where it's in our reality. And that's not going to change, right? We don't have some other technology that's about to show up that appears to be more meaningful or helpful. So being able to add this into your clinical model and get comfortable with it is going to give you a serious advantage in your efforts at helping your patients experience better health, having confidence in their intervention plans, that they're intelligently designed, that they're not just guessing and throwing things in and seeing what works. And ultimately, at some point, depending on the space of medicine you're in, if you're going to stay on the leading edge of healthcare, you're going to be using metabolomics. So you might as well go ahead and get started. What I want physicians to do is recognize that even the healthy patients they're treating have a lot of things that are actually affecting their health that are going to at some point manifest as real problems. That's our reality. That's the situation we're dealing with. The chronic disease rates in our population are bad. They're getting worse. We have to get upstream of this. And so my call to action is to embrace the technologies that will allow you as a clinician to begin to be part of this process of reversing this trajectory of the development of chronic disease, helping young people actually experience healthy minds and bodies so that they can actually know what their potential really is, rather than living in a body where those potentials are just not being expressed. This is the time for us as clinicians to demonstrate that we have the tools and resources to empower the population of people we serve to become healthier people.